Sharon Tubbs. It is 3 o'clock. I am the director of Health Visions Midwest, and I welcome each and every one of you to this webinar. This is from stress to blessed, because that's what we want to be during the season. We have wonderful panelists and a moderator. I just want to introduce myself a little bit for those of you who do not know about Health Visions Midwest. Health Visions Midwest has been in the community for more than 20 years. And we are doing some fabulous things in terms of helping to educate people about health in our community, in underserved communities, primarily in Southeast Fort Wayne. We've got health education programs, and we just started doing some wonderful webinars like the one that you're going to see today. Perhaps you were involved in our Transitioning Careers webinar a few months back. But today we have something for you that I am sure is going to be helpful and practical. And so without further ado, I want to introduce our wellness coordinator, Patricia Veazey, and I may be back a little bit later on to help with questions and answers. So Patricia, you are the moderator for today, so take it over.
Thank you, thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome. As she said, my name is Patricia Veazey. I will be your moderator today as we discuss how to transform our way of thinking and how to transform our lives from stressed to blessed. So let me ask you the first question. Are you the type of person that delights in the holiday season? You put up your meticulously decorated Christmas tree the day after Thanksgiving? Or are you that other person? That's me. I'm the one that's looking at the Thanksgiving leftovers, wondering what I'm going to do with them. I'm looking at the dishes that are yet to be washed and think, oh my goodness, I'm going to have to do this again in a month at Christmas time. So weigh in the poll and let me know, which one are you? Are you the early Christmas tree person, or are you the one that thinks, oh my goodness, I have to do this again in a couple of months, couple of weeks?
I've also realized a mistake on my part. I accidentally started the live stream on my personal Facebook instead of on the Health Visions Facebook. So while this poll is going, I am going to just fix that mistake and have our live stream be on our Health Visions Midwest of Fort Wayne Facebook page. So just give me a quick second. I love that the polls are coming in. Keep bringing in your answers.
Oh, I'm seeing people loving the holiday time, loving Christmas. Okay, I see those answers coming in. All right. And we're good, Felicia?
We're just waiting for a few more answers, and we are now going to the correct place for our live stream. I apologize for anyone who is trying to watch it on Facebook that it just started. And so there will be a 20-second lag from Facebook until this webinar, but feel free to watch from Facebook. And if you have any questions or remarks you want me to rely onto the panelists, you can go ahead and drop them in a comment, and I will rely those on to the panelists here. And I'm going to close. So our poll that we just launched asks, which one are you? And the answer 1 is to joyfully anticipate the countdown till Christmas. And answer 2 is that you dread that Christmas is around the corner. So if you're on Facebook, you can go ahead and write that in the comments, and I will include that then into this poll. But I'm going to close this poll for you, Patricia.
Okay. Well, thank you all for responding to that poll. You know, and the fact is, whether you're a person that loves the holiday season or you're a person that dreads it, it comes with some stress. You know, whether we're talking about family stress, work stress, or just plain life stress, it can be stressful. For me, I've dedicated the last 15 years of my career to community outreach. And as rewarding as it has been, it comes with this share of stress. But like many of you, I'm sure you're optimistic about the new year, and you're looking forward to moving into 2022 with a new way of looking, with a new perspective, getting your life from stress to blessed. Okay. So without further delay, I am going to introduce my beautiful panelists. All right. Today I have with us Mari Love. Mari is a graduate of PFW. She is currently a practicing therapist at Phoenix and Associates with a master's in clinical mental counseling. And she is also a member of the Society of Black Mental Health Professionals. Thank you, Mari, for joining us. We also have with us Diane Rogers. Diane comes to us with 27 years of experience and service to the city as a former member of the Fort Wayne Police Department. She currently serves as the president of our community association, and she's a certified yoga instructor, and she's going to be telling us more about that as well. Thank you for joining us, Diane. We also have with us our on-air personality, Dr. Deshawn Moore. Deshawn is funny talent. She's the funny, talented morning show host of Rhythm and Praise 94.1. Thank you for joining our panel today. And we are also fortunate to have with us Peggy Hayes. Peggy is the senior community health worker. She's also the trainer for Health Visions Midwest. Peggy has spent the last 15 years of her career working with people living in low-income, underserved communities as a mental health facilitator and an educator to people living with chronic conditions. Welcome, ladies, to the panel. I'm ready to get in here and get started, okay? Well, as you know, we're talking about changing our lives from blessed to stressed. This was my concept, and I'm going to have Mari to address this. She doesn't know that I'm going to ask this, but I'm going to have Mari to address this. So as I'm thinking about stress and how stress, appears itself in my life, I thought, what if I looked at stress in a different way? What if I thought about, all the things that happens to my body when I'm under stress? My heart starts pounding, I start sweating, my breath gets short. What if I thought about that in a different way? What if I thought about when my heart started pounding, I'm like a car, and that's my engine revving up. My heart is pounding, my engine's revving up. I'm getting ready to attack whatever situation is serving me stress. So if I looked at stress a little differently, do you think maybe, Mari, that would train my body to react a little differently? Instead of feeling stress and dread, I'd feel like, okay, here I go, let's go, and I'm ready.
The easy answer is absolutely. Anytime that we make a positive perspective change, we're always going to be at a benefit.
Okay.
But to put it in layman's term, you're talking about the difference between something stressing you to your breaking point and something putting pressure on you and creating that diamond. Mm-hmm. That's the difference, is the perspective change. Okay. Whether we're going to let that adrenaline pump go from breaking us down and making us retreat to our bedroom, or we're going to allow that to fuel us to go do the next thing and conquer the next adventure.
Okay. And that's what I'm working towards. Now, Mari, could you also explain the different types of stress? Because you talked about stress taking us to our breaking point and things like that. Could you explain the different types of stress that we experience?
Of course. The two main that we hear about the most is the acute stress and the chronic stress. We hear acute and chronic so many times in so many different forms. So I'm going to tell you the layman's terms for it, and then I'll give you some examples, because that's how I learn. Okay. I learn when you put it into my world. So acute stress is those short-term stress. You get a flat tire, you're late for work, you miss your alarm, your kids moving slow in the morning, so it's throwing your day off. That's acute stress. Things that are unpredictable that deter your day. That chronic stress is the long-term stress. Chronic stress is that emotionally abusive relationship you've been in too long. Chronic stress is lack of healing from childhood trauma. Chronic stress are those things like the unhealthy work environment that you've been in for 10 plus years. Those are chronic stress. Okay. While we have our episodic stress, those are Christmas time. Valentine's Day is coming up. I need to do some things. Okay. It's Easter time. I need to get this and this and this and this ready. A lot of those monarch family members, those women that are the main nucleus for their families, experience a lot of those episodic stress situations, birthdays, Thanksgiving, holidays. They stress them out because they know it takes a lot of work to put on these productions of family time. So those are those episodes of time where you are stressed. Pregnancy, episode of time.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes, that does break it down, help me understand it. Here's another question I have. If I have prolonged chronic stress, could it lead to anxiety or depression?
Of course.
Of course.
I'm a play with this question a little bit, okay?
Okay.
The reason why is because I think I really need to understand, explain it from an empathetic point of view. And what I mean by that is I need to put everybody that's listening to me in the shoes of the person that is going through that stress and that anxiety and that depression and what it's doing. And I'm going to shout my sight in this and say that I was listening to Janelle Lane speak last Saturday during a panel. Mm-hmm. And what she said is something that I'm getting ready to use because it literally puts it into understanding of how our physical and mental bodies are affected by stress. So stress is our body's reaction to fight or flight. And when we hear fight or flight, we're always thinking about those wilderness experiences. But fight or flight is our body. First of all, let me shout out God because he made us perfectly. He literally made our body so perfect to handle whatever. Fight or flight is literally our body's responses to time periods of stress, of fear, of frightenedness, of things getting ready to cause us harm. Okay. And so our body literally shuts down some functions, increases other functions so we can have super strength, super intelligence. We can be thinking critically. We can do all of these things in those modes so that when we are in danger, fight or flight means when we are in danger, that our bodies know how to react. If a bear walked up on me, I wouldn't know how to do if I had to explain it to you, but I know that I would do everything in my power to make it home.
To live.
And whatever I had to do, whatever I had to pick up, how fast I had to run, whatever the case may be, I would do everything in my power to be able to survive those situations.
Makes sense. Great.
So when we are in those fight or flight modes, our body is literally releasing cortisol, which is the hormone that is released for us to be able to have this adrenaline. It's our body's reaction to it. But this is the thing that we got to understand. We're not supposed to stay there. We're not supposed to be in fight or flight chronically, which means on long term. We shouldn't be operating every single day in fight or flight mode. But think about how many people we know in survival mode.
True.
Think about how many people we interact with every single day that are frightened, in crisis, in fear. They're living in it. I'm quoting Janelle when she said, we got babies baking in cortisol. Baking in it because the mother is so stressed. So this made me take it a little personal because I know so many millennial parents, so many of people in those 30s, those young 30s, those late 20s are having babies right now. And then babies is baking in cortisol because we haven't got it all figured out yet. Yep. We don't even know what to do next. We still putting all these pieces together. We're still learning who we are.
That's exactly right.
So to answer your question, when we do that and we bake our bodies in cortisol, our body has no choice but to react in some manner.
Exactly.
It has no choice but to have physical ramifications to what's going on around us. That means anxiety, depression, heart disease, headaches, muscle tension, can't sleep. It also releases glucose in the body, which is weight gain. We the most obese.
We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about
us.
That's exactly
right. All of these things fighting against us when we are stressed. So to answer your question, the answer is absolutely. When you are dealing with those chronic situations, when you are operating every day in survival mode, every day you are treading water, basically drowning, getting spits of air, you are baking your body in cortisol and forcing it to be in fight or flight mode chronically. And
Makes
that's the problem.
Okay. Thank you. Now, I know for me, when I am stressed, I have different coping mechanisms. And to be honest, one of my coping mechanisms is chocolate cake. I sometimes eat my stress. So we're going to talk a little bit about what that does to our bodies when we're under stress and we're handling it wrong and we're eating the wrong things and justifying eating those wrong things. So Peggy, can you share with us how stress may affect our appetite?
You know, as I was sitting here listening to Mara, she touched on a lot of those things. We all know that when we're stressed out, when we go to our refrigerator, we are not trying to find any carrots or celery. Okay, we're not trying to do that. Don't even play like that. We're trying to go for that chocolate cake. We're trying to go for those donuts, those Lay's potato chips. Definitely. You know, that chocolate we've been hiding, but now we're gonna bring it all out because we're stressed out, and we do that, what we call that comfort foods. We do a lot of comfort foods, and all these comfort foods that we ingest is going to pay a price sooner or later. Okay, so you're doing comfort foods to feel comfortable, to feel a little bit less stressed because you think the food is going to de-stress you for a little bit, and for a little bit it may do that. But if it's like Mari said, if it's acute, it's to do it for a little while. But if it's long going, it's going to do harm in the long run, because it's going to cause our bodies to have all these different chronic illnesses, heart disease, diabetes, stroke, you know, all the, you know, depression, anxiety, all these things that she already touched on. So we don't want to stay there, you know, and we talk about these things that, you know, we eat, you know, and we do mindless hand to mouth eating. We just started eating, we're not even hungry, but we'll go past it. I mean, I have literally seen people open up their cabinets. They're not hungry. They just open it up and just look around and see what's in it. And then they'll pull something out. It's just mindless eating, you know, hand to mouth, something in your mouth. We seem to have to have something in our mouths all the time. Yeah. And unfortunately, what we put in our mouths and what we put in our cups, they are not nutritional. Yeah. They're not.
So give us some tips, Peggy. Give us some tips, you know, on what we
the holidays are coming up, right?
Right.
And so one of the things we want to do is have some portion control. You know, don't get that big old 10 or 12-inch plate. Get a smaller plate. And one of the things you might even want to do before you even go to the table is drink an 8-ounce glass of water. Oh, okay. Because an 8-ounce glass of water can help you not want to fill your plate up so much. Okay. So drinking an 8-ounce glass of water can help you, where you can have just a small, you know, get a small portion, because here's the thing, you can always go back. You can always go back and get seconds. Don't be filling up your plate thinking someone else is gonna have more than you. If you don't get this now, you may not get another piece, a portion of it. No, you know, just get a little bit of portion of it. Once you do that, when you get done eating, think about exercising. You know, some exercise. Walking is good for us. You know, having those steps, getting your Fitbit or your pedometer, whatever it is. You know, we may not all be able to do 10,000 steps, but, you know, just moving can help us, can help, you know, can help the body, you know, rejuvenate, get it going, not having all these stiff joints that we have, you know, eating healthier, you know, trying to eat more protein, more fruits and veggies. Also having a healthy breakfast. So many of us do not eat breakfast. That's why it is called break fast, because you're sleeping during the night, you get up in the morning, you fasted all night, you need to have a healthy breakfast. We need to be doing that. And don't be doing nibbling, because when you nibble, you've already eaten a plate and you didn't even realize it. Yeah. So, you know, be cautious of your nibbling. All right. Also, you might want to have a little super salad or something, you know, light, so you won't eat as much, because that can satisfy you. Chocolates, you know, in dessert, have a few bites, just a few bites. And this is also on our Facebook page, so some of these tips, so we can do those types of things. Okay.
I've already picked out something I can do. I think I could try that full glass of water before I eat.
That helps a great deal.
I like that. Now, keep in mind, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the Q&A and we will address those questions. If you have that question that's directed to a certain panelist, you can put that in there as well. Okay. So we've talked about what stress is. We've talked about how we handle stress incorrectly, that chocolate cake, but instead a glass of water, then chocolate cake. No, or maybe just a glass of water. So we've talked about all of that. So once we're under stress and we know what it is, let's talk about ways that we can de-stress, okay? One of the things I like to do is to touch upon my spiritual side when it comes to distressing. So, Ms. Deshawn, can you tell us a little bit about how, could you share with us how stress may affect us spiritually? We can't hear you. You're on mute.
All right. I
Gotcha.
apologize.
Gotcha.
One thing I do know about the enemy, he is so cunning and he is so shrewd that, number one, whenever we're getting ready to get blessed, whenever God wants to do something for us, he doesn't know everything, and we know that part, but he does know how to get us so stressed and overwhelmed that, number one, we can't hear from God. Number two, we are so discouraged that we get ourselves almost in a depressed state because we're trying to please mama, we're trying to please daddy, we're trying to please people on the job. And what we have to realize is that when you begin to even start feeling a little stressed, you have to recognize this very fact that the enemy wants to take you out by using your very thing that we all want is good health. If he can get you stressed, you're not going to be able to worship. You're going to come in church. You're going to sit in that pew. You're going to go in the same way that you came, because he is trying to take something from you, which is your purpose, your blessing, and your health. Number one, I tell people to try to recognize your stressors. It's not always easy, but when you begin to think, okay, what's bothering me? Who is bothering me? And you need to actually sit down and think about, because we all deal with toxic situations. There are some toxic people that God does not want you taking into your 2020. You are going to have to learn how to say no. As Black women, as women, period, we want to help everybody. We want to be there for everyone. Everybody is not your assignment, and you have to learn that. So recognize, what are your stressors? After you recognize, we've heard this, but Patricia, we don't do this. Most of the time, the most attended service in our churches is prayer. We'll go to every service, but I guarantee you, if you have a prayer service, you may have one person, two people, but we have to learn how to get connected to our God. It is a personal relationship. I don't need you shouting like the other sister. I don't need you preaching like the other sister. God wants you to be you. He wants you to be honest with him. And this doesn't mean that you have to be so serious. You talk to God like I'm talking to you all. And we have to learn how to relax, be ourselves, and have a personal relationship with our God. It doesn't have to look like everybody. You don't have to be perfect like them. God just wants your heart, and he wants your worship. And then after that, I hope I'm not talking too fast, so let me know if you have a question, or please interject. But there's one of my favorite scriptures, and I love this scripture. It says, don't be anxious about anything. And that's not always easy, because there's things we want. We're trying to make it in life. We're trying to be successful. We want things. But even in that, even with you being the go-getter, the boss lady, or whatever we call it, you have to learn how to not be anxious. Wait on the Lord. There's something called patience, because trust me, when you're in him, you're going to get your blessing. You're going to get what he has for you. But if you're always anxious, that's stress. When you're worried, Lord, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? How is this going to work? Sometimes, you know what? The answer is just be patient. Just wait on me and enjoy the moment. Ladies, we got to learn how to enjoy our moment. I love to laugh. Patricia, y'all, I'm going to laugh. I'm going to have fun. I am the first lady that's so out the box, and I am going to be me. I've learned how to be me. And that's another thing. Be you, love the moment. Stop worrying about what's going to happen tomorrow. God will take care of that. But don't be anxious about anything, but in every situation, getting your word. It says, but by prayer and petition, that's petitioning God. Lord, I need this. Lord, I know you got my back. I'm not going to stress today. I'm not going to worry about the car, the husband, the boyfriend, the girlfriend. I'm not worried. I'm going to enjoy the moment. I'm going to relax. And then I'm going to trust you, God. And that's how you have to do it. And I have to remind myself, but that's how you do it.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good. You're going to have me walking around telling people, you're not my assignment. You're not my assignment.
Absolutely. That's how you
like
do it.
that. I'm going to use that. You're not my assignment. I like it. Thank you. Thank you. So now we're working on our stress. We're de-stressing. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention how physical movement, we talked a little bit about it earlier, how physical movement can help us to de-stress a little bit. So Miss Diane, can you tell us a little bit about how yoga can help us with stress, how physical movement can help us with stress? You're on mute. You're on mute. There you go.
Thank you so much. I apologize for that. My experience with yoga has been so transforming that if most people know me, and I still have my push button of elevation. Now, if you need me to go to another level, I can go there from 1 to 10 real quick. And that is the anxiety, stress, and everything that we all deal with living in fight and flight. Now, you want to talk about fight and flight? I did 27 years of fight and flight. I'm still doing fight and flight. August the 12th, I do fight and flight. So I had to fight to get my peace, to actually get in a place where I'm serving everyone else. And this is while caring for my 87-year-old dad and my stepmother at the same time. So I had been introduced to yoga, and my journey with yoga, and I tell you, everyone, anybody want to be an expert, once you do yoga, you become the expert, because it is your experience with yoga and your transformation of you to understand how God made you perfect and how you did not keep your everything lubricated so you can stay in perfect performance. So you can turn on your turbo and turn on your light. And this experience has actually de-stressed me. It has toned me down. And one of the things I learned most of all is that I have more power than I thought. And I thought I was the stuff. You hear what I'm saying? I know God has given me power in everything that I choose to address. But when I got into yoga and to find out that I had corners within myself that I had not visited, and I still have closets and rooms to visit within myself and in my own soul. And doing this, I knew that I had to come and share this with my community, because me being the advocate in the streets with the children, supporting whatever I can, as you know, we always want to help everybody. But I tell you, I'm proud to say I'll be 63 in May, and I am at a very good health. I'm not where I need to be, because I still take care of, doing a lot, taking care of my dad. But if it wasn't for yoga, I might be in Park Center and not in Park Center.
Gotcha.
And so I say that the main thing that I learned was my breath, inhaling, taking a deep breath in, and releasing and exhaling. I ask you all to do that with me right now. I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose, and I want you to do it the count of 4 and hold it for a second, and then we're going to release. And I want you, as you release and exhale, I want you to let everything drop and melt away. Inhale, exhale.
I like that.
When you're at your desk, when you're at the traffic light, before you say something that you don't want to say, before you do something that you don't want to do, realign yourself with your true purpose. And your true purpose is to be the perfect being that God has made us. He made us perfect in all different ways. So I'm just here to tell you that you have the power, and you have been redirected to use exterior power when the power lies within. I'm here to tell you, it's not I'm not telling you a story. Yoga is a 5,000-year-old practice, and it still exists, and it is all over the world, going stronger now than it ever has.
I like that. And I like that you gave me something that I could do while sitting at my desk. I can inhale and exhale, and where I most need it is in traffic. I could also do that at the red light. So I thank you. That helps. That helps. So once again, if you have any questions that you'd like to have answered, please put that in the question. Do we have anything going, Felicia, that we need to answer?
Hey, Patricia, actually we do. There's a great question in that Robert Love sent to us. And
Okay.
let me just read his context here.
Sharon, so sorry. So I've registered my entire family group chat under my dad. So that might
is
not
that
be
you?
my dad. It might be, I think it's my mom or my sister. But if
full
you see
disclosure.
4 Robert Loves, it's because everybody got the same link for my entire family. So it might not be my dad, but it's one of my family members.
It's somebody. Somebody put this question to the panelists, okay? Their last name may be Love, but had great context. And it says, stress is a major factor in our healthcare arena. The pandemic has made us made us healthcare workers more stressful, and taking care of my patients. Stress. Holidays are worse for us. Who's to help those that help? So that is the question, basically. Who is to help those people who are stressed out, helping people who are stressed out and suffering the effects of this pandemic?
That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone on my panel want to answer that?
I'll plug this right now. Everyone needs a therapist. Everybody needs a therapist. Everybody needs a therapist. I'll say it one more time. Everybody needs a therapist. Just like everybody, doctors have doctors.
Okay.
You know, therapist, even as a therapist, I have a therapist. Everybody needs a therapist. So that's a great question. We have seen at a mighty rate, our nurses quit, our CNAs quit, our doctors quit. They're giving up healthcare because they do not have the mental capacity to even sustain what they're being asked to do, being on the front line every single day, putting their own families at risk, putting their own lives at risk, everything that they do. So there's no simple answer to answer that question other than you, more than anybody else in this world, have to do everything you can to uphold your mental and physical health. Because if you are nothing as a nurse or a doctor or OBGYN or whoever you are in this healthcare community, social workers, so many of us, if you are not doing those things to take care of you, we can't take care of anybody else. Mm-hmm. So one of the things I even said to my clients this week, I said, if I need to stay at home, I'm going to stay at home and I'm going to cancel my therapy day that day. Mm. And as much as I adore every last one of my clients, I know that I need to take care of me too. Not just physically, not if I just got a cold or anything like that. I get stressed too. I have panic attacks. I have depressive days where I don't want to get out of bed. And those days that I am not feeling good, I remind myself the same thing I tell my clients. It's okay to not be okay. We're just not going to stay there. So I give myself that day and then I get up the next day and do it again.
Okay, mental health day. Also, and that came from your mother, actually. I see Diane, her hand is up. You want to address that question as well?
Yes, the same that she's saying, and what I want to share with you that it has been proven by science, and we're dealing with science right now today in 2021. The cortisol, the hormone that stress creates, yoga actually allows it to melt away. And if you actually go into that state, because you're only focusing on yourself, and what happens is we as servers, as people that are servers or servants, we don't focus on us, we focus on other people. And so one thing yoga does is give you that transformation and transform you back into yourself. So you can understand that maybe it's not your assignment to go in and rescue them. Maybe you need to be giving them the tools for them to rescue themselves. And so it has so many benefits from our organs to giving our organs massages with our prayer twists, with our putting our going to downward facing dog, raising our heart rate. It's just so many things that I enjoy seeing people go to the gym, but people and that's another thing that we don't do. We're more inside in front of the computer. We're more inside with all of these devices, which is almost become a god to some people. So we really need to get out in nature. We need to take our walks. We need to apologize and correct things that need to be corrected versus leaving it on the table for somebody else to do it.
Awesome.
So there's a lot of things that we need to focus on.
Those are very helpful tips. Thank you so much, Diane. We've got some questions flowing in here, so we got to get to some of these real quick here. Okay, so first of all, Lady Moore, could you please put the information about your program in the chat so people can get that? That was one of the questions. Now, is yoga more of a mind exercise or can it be used for weight loss, Diane? If you could answer that real quick.
Yes, it does. It actually takes the body through the up and down, the downward dogs, your sun salutations, and all of the poses actually it brings the heat from the inside. It's called your bandha. Your bandha is your foundation, but your tepis is your heat, the heat that comes from within. It begins to, believe it or not, it gives you the release to melt off the fat. That stress, hormones, all of the things that hold you back and get you focused into why you're doing what you're doing. And once you do that on your mat, you're actually able to take that out in the world. It really do work.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, so we can use yoga for stress and for weight loss. That's something I didn't know. Okay, so you can lose weight, just doing all right. Interesting.
If you want to do some research, you can look at, there are people that have done documentaries with them doing exercise yoga, and it's been used for PTSD, for military, or even trauma, for everything. It has been moved. I said it is a 500,000-year-old practice. This is nothing new. It's new to us, but it is not new at all. And
okay, and I know that Patricia at the end is going to get back to you guys and let you give some more information about where we can find out more about your yoga practices and those types of things. Another question from Sheila: where can we find low-cost therapy in Allen County for the underinsured or uninsured? Mara, you are on mute.
Okay, I just unmuted myself. Okay. To answer your question, there's a couple of things. Number one, Purdue Fort Wayne, they have an on-campus counseling center for all, because when you get licensed to be a therapist, it's like doing residency when doctors have to go practice and they have someone over them. Well, Purdue Fort Wayne has an on-campus counseling center that does free therapy. Even though these are interns, they are some of the best of the best. They have people of color working in that office. Some of the people that I practice with right now came straight from Purdue. Also, Courageous Healing, they got a grant and they are doing 6 free counseling sessions for people right now. Okay. I also know that a lot of people in this community are rallying around Courageous Healing to fund them and uplift them. That is a great place to go. But I also have a list of so many different therapy offices that take Medicaid. So even if you are insured with Medicaid, if you can just get the basic government insurance. I know multiple agencies that work with people that have Medicaid. I'll give all my contact at the end and all the above, but those are the 3 easy answers that I can give you straight off of hand.
Okay, thank you so much, Mari. That is awesome and wonderful information, practical information for us. Another question, Peggy, you talked about nutrition and healthy eating practices and things like that with regard to stress. Can you talk a little bit about how stress and healthy eating practices feed into some of the chronic diseases that you teach and educate people on in the community?
When you're eating unhealthy things, it can lead to like diabetes. When you can have that insulin issue. You can have insulin resistance. It can mess with your insulin very badly. It can mess with your heart. It can give you a stroke. It can give you anxiety. It can give you depression. So when you're eating all these unhealthy things, your body's in a topsy-turvy and it doesn't quite know what to do because you're feeding all this food that is not good for the body. And it's causing all these different things that can happen to your body. And so, like, again, if it's a short period of time, you might be okay. But if it's a long period of time, if you don't have these diseases, these chronic illnesses, down the road, you can get these types of things because you are feeding your body unhealthy things. You're denying it and depleting it of the nutrients that it does need. So it doesn't help your body when you're doing giving it all these bad nutrients. It's not even nutrients. It's not even nutrients. It's all this bad food, all these calories and all this fat food that's causing your body to just be out of whack.
So it's not just about losing weight and keeping your weight down. This is actually about health.
This is about keeping your body healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a healthy body, you can still get some of these chronic diseases, but if you're gonna, do that mindless hand-to-mouth eating, this is some of the, the causes that can exacerbate. So you don't want those type of things to be happening with your body, especially when you're focused on what you need to be eating, what you should be eating to make the body healthier.
Okay.
Because we all get off track every once in a while. Everybody does.
Lady Moore, you talk a lot in your radio show about health tips and stress and those types of things. How do you see stress playing out even in the church? Or do people in the church get stressed because they got God, so maybe they don't get stressed in the church? You're on mute.
Wow. I see a lot of, well, I'm not going to say a lot. I see church members, people of God, number one, sweeping a lot of things under the rug because we want to have this perfect, reputation. We want to look the part. We want to look like this. We want to do this. And that is not good. I encourage people to be transparent. Now, you can't be transparent with everyone because everyone may not know how to receive your issue. Some people may not have your best interest. What I will say is find someone who you can talk to because you're going to need to talk. Even Jesus needed to talk to someone. He talked to his Father. And so find that person that you can talk to, but learn how to not, you're walking in the image, but it's not you. You're not being yourself. It's okay to cry. I tell pastors, it's okay if you need to take a sabbatical. Stop trying to be this superhero and trying to, again, have this look, the look in the community. It's okay to say, I need a therapist. The Bible, it encourages us to get wisdom, to get guidance. A therapist is wisdom. That is a guide. That is someone who can give you structure, who can give you the correct education, who can give you the correct medicine, who can recommend. Sometimes we're against medicine. Just because you're taking medicine for something does not mean that you don't have faith. Your faith is not in the medicine. Your faith is always going to be the source, which is God. But at the same time, God put resources on this earth for you to benefit from. So be transparent. Stop walking around here trying to be so perfect because God knows you. He made you. He knows your issues. He wants you to be you. It's okay to cry. It's okay to not to be strong all the time. It's okay to sometimes have an attitude. Hey, we're us. But I just want to say, be yourself, be transparent, and stop hiding behind this certain facade. That is how suicide happens. That is how things and then we're like, you will have the audacity to say, well, God, why did you allow this to happen? God was like, I didn't ask you to be perfect. I asked you to have a perfect heart towards me, but I want you to be able to talk, to open up, and to be you.
Okay, awesome. And on that note, we are about a quarter till, and Patricia wants to take it back. But Patricia, I do want to read this in the chat first.
Okay.
From another love person. We're not sure of the actual identity, but it says your body has trillions of living cells, and when you eat dead foods or processed food, it strangles the living cells and attribute to the disease process.
Yes.
High food are fresh fruit and vegetables, plant-based, how God designed for us. We have deviated from the assignment. Deep, that is so
So
good.
true.
That is good information. And so with that, Patricia, we're going to go back to you.
Okay. Wow, is what I want to say first. I have learned so much today, because what I always hear people say is that it makes you weak if you need therapy, some help. But what I'm actually hearing you women say today, it makes you strong to admit that you are human and you need help and you need someone to assist you. Okay, I love it. I love it. Ladies, you've given us so much to think about today. Also be able to have our listeners, our participants, someone could get more information from.
Sure. Just want to invite you to our new urban gospel station, Rhythm and Praise 94.1. We have some amazing DJs. We're all about motivation, inspiration, and we are on your radio dial. So you can listen to us in your car at 94.1, online at rnp94.1.org. You can download the app at 94.1. And so, yes, I'm on from 6 to 10 in the mornings. My show is Mornings with Lady Moore. We have middays with Jamal Bates from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then afternoons with Mo Moss from 2 to 6. And on Sundays, we have Pastor Jay, Sunday Praise from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we love to motivate. We love to inspire. We talk about all this stuff on our shows. We keep you going with the word motivation and inspiration. So we just welcome our community to listen and be inspired.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And once again, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Mari, you talked about having a list, which I didn't know about, a list of therapists that people can go through if you are on Medicaid or low cost and stuff like that. How can someone reach out to you if they want to get a copy of that list?
You can find me on Facebook. I'm Mari Love on Facebook. I work for Phoenix and Associates. I'll put the phone number in the chat, but the phone number is 260-424-0411. You also can just email me. My email is nolabelsmovement@gmail.com. I'll put all that information in there. But if you give me 30 seconds, there's something that I want to share with you guys. This is a technique that I've been using for the past probably 2 weeks to start my days, and it's been a monumental change for me. I would be doing you guys a disservice if I didn't share. It's an acronym that I figured out that I looked up, and it's called GAS. The G stands for waking up every day, starting your day with gratitude. I start my day every morning just thanking God for being alive, thanking him for things that are not happening to me, to not wake up in the hospital, all the things that I am allowed to do and living in abundance. So starting your day with gratitude. The A stands for affirmations. Your affirmations can be, I am beautiful, I am strong, I am smart, but mine are a little different. I say, today I'm going to have a good day. My affirmations are always very specific. They're about that day. I'm too blessed to let anybody piss me off today. I'm too blessed to let my day be deterred by anybody's attitude today. So I do my affirmations for that day. And then the last one is something that we've all talked about, and it's the S is for silence. That's when I pray. That's when I meditate. That's when I stretch. That's when I'm having that personal conversation with myself and God. That is my silent time to start my day. And it's hard to be silent. Try to sit in silence for 60 seconds and see where your mind goes. But that silence and that moment with God and that time to just de-escalate is a great way to start your day because it empties your tank. Every day we start our day at about a 5. And in a moment of time, whether it's the alarm going off, a text message we received, the kids knocking on the door or knocking something over, our day instantly goes into another level, whether it's depressive or hyperactivity, whatever the case may be. So it's so important to start your day as soon as you wake up at such a low vibration so that when things come into play, you cannot be in fight or flight mode. You have time to critically think. You have time to be like, it's just a flat tire. The worst that's gonna happen is I'm gonna be 30 minutes late. I'm gonna be okay. When you look at it like that versus I got a flat tire, what am I gonna do next? Now my whole day is completely deterred versus me kicking back, watching a few TikTok to the tow truck get there, doing that versus how we look at things. So perspective is such a huge thing. So I'm glad that Sharon put that in the chat. use gas as much as you can. I'm using it myself. I'm doing this every day and it's helping me in such a mighty way. I'll put all my contact information. Never hesitate to reach out. And I'll lastly say, everybody needs a therapist.
Okay, thank you. And she does respond when you reach out. I can attest to that. Peggy, if people want to know a little more about Health Visions and what you have going on, how could they do that?
I have put it in the chat. I teach all these classes: chronic disease, mental health, obesity, nutrition. We'll have it on our Facebook page. I'm going to be having some classes starting in January. The date is to be determined, but we will have everything on our Facebook page. You can find all of that information out. And one more thing I wanted to say while I was thinking about it, you know, when we think about stress and everything, we don't think about our children being stressed. Our children are really, really stressed from not going to school, from all these things that are happening to them. They're eating a lot of unhealthy foods at home. All these things are happening. So when we're thinking about stress, stress is a normal thing, but it's how we deal with stress. And if you have parents that are already stressed, they can't help their kids. So as Mari says, we all need a therapist. We need to find somebody that can help holistically the whole family, because, you know, COVID has just turned our world upside down. So we go on our Facebook page on Health Vision Midwest of Fort Wayne, and we have all that information there. And looking forward to, as I'm out in the community and on Facebook and on Zoom and, you know, on the phone, teaching these classes. Love to have it. Love to have you join our class.
Thank you, Peggy. Now, this has been an awesome webinar today, ladies. This has been great, a lot of great information, and this is something that we plan to do more of here at Health Visions, looking at, you know, issues that, you know, that plague our community, addressing them, putting information out there, and hooking people up with resources. So once again, keep an eye out on our Facebook page, and it'll give you guides to what's coming up next. Now, how I'd like to close it out. I was graced to be in Miss Diane's yoga class once before. And believe me, if you're like me thinking yoga is just simple, it is no joke. Yoga is no joke, but it has great benefits. But another thing that I found beneficial was Miss Diane plays the drums. And to end my yoga session with listening to the drums and just relaxing, and it helped me to release everything. So I was wondering, Diane, if you could play us out from the webinar with a little bit of your drums.
Thank you. It is called the hand pan drum. It is a 432 frequency, and I would love to do just that.
Okay.
And
Thank
that's
you. Thank you. Thank you.
Want
Once
each
again,
and
there was a
every
question.
last one of
Deshaun,
us.
did you?
Keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you. Deshaun, was there something else you wanted to say? I did give you an opportunity to give a closing, didn't I?
Yes.
No,
Okay.
I didn't either.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies. This was beautiful. I learned so much today, and I hope that our listeners did as well. Look forward to seeing more from Health Visions in the future, and hopefully these ladies that are on the panel today will work with me once again in the future. Once again, thank you, and everyone have a blessed day.
Hold on. One little thing. Ladies, you are going to get a survey in your email, okay? We need you to fill that survey out. Again, like Patricia said, we're so thankful for you coming today. Please pay attention to that survey and fill it out and send it back to us. Thank you so much. We need it for our grant. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, Mom.